Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today we have got another Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 Prestige class video, and today we are going to be looking at the Complete Warrior, and we're going to look at the Drunken Master. Now, the Drunken Master is a very interesting Prestige class. So we are going to be talking about, as always, what the Drunken Master is, how you go about becoming a Drunken Master, what you get for being a Drunken Master, and finally we're going to talk about how good the Drunken Master is and how you would use it in a build. So let's get started. Now, the Drunken Master, well, they're an interesting one. So they are a type of typically monk. It's very rare that non-monks ever become Drunken Masters, but they are typically monks, and they are ones that just kind of bend and sway and make weird random motions to throw off their opponents, to make them think that they're going to be doing one thing when they're really doing another. On top of that, they're also the type that does drink alcohol in order to enhance their powers. So yeah, these guys are quite the interesting one. They're often found in bars and taverns. They are not to be messed with, though. They are far more potent than your average drunkard, considerably more so. So yeah, that's really all there is on what they are. It's fairly self-explanatory. So let's talk about what it takes to become a Drunken Master, and that's fairly simple. So first off, you're going to need 8 ranks in Tumble, which makes sense because it's a skill you're going to be using a lot. You use it a lot as a monk in general, but particularly as a Drunken Master. So yeah, feats, you get dodge, great fortitude, improved unarmed. You requires dodge, great fortitude, and improved unarmed strike, or the monk's class feature, unarmed strike class feature. So yeah, okay, not the greatest feats in the world, but it is what it is. It's only 2 of them. Special, you're going to need the Flurry of Blows ability. You're going to have that as a monk. Evasion ability, I'm pretty sure monks get that. And the next one, this one's a fun one. So you must be chosen by existing Drunken Masters and survive a night of revelry among them without being incarcerated, poisoned, or extraordinarily embarrassed. Now, that's an interesting one. So you have to live. You can't get arrested, and you can't be poisoned during the time, and you also can't get too embarrassed. So no wetting yourself or like puking or it's quite an interesting one. Definitely one of the more flavorful special entry requirements that I've seen. Now, this is also one that a DM could use to bar you from entering. Maybe you just can't find Drunken Masters to let you in. Hopefully your DM's more cool than that, but it is something that they could do, and they might have reasons for it. There may be legitimate reasons for not allowing it. But yeah, that is the requirement. Sorry, I don't know what's going on outside my window there. But anyways, I don't know if you guys heard that or not. But anyways, so the Drunken Master. So another thing that you can be doing with this whole night of revelry, that just is something fun to play out. Because, I mean, let's be real. Just going out with some Drunken Masters, causing mischief, trying to survive the night, that's just fun. So yeah. Just something that could be quite an interesting experience. So that's out of the way. Let's talk about what you actually get for being a Drunken Master. So first off, it has a D8 hit dice, so not bad. It has an average base attack bonus, so the same as the monk. You're going to have good fortitude and reflex saves, but a bad will save. So that is a little unfortunate that your will save is going to be a little lower, since the monk does have all good saves. And they get a number. Oh, and they also get 4+ int for skills, with a decent array of skills to choose from. So let's look at what they get. So they don't get any weapon or armor proficiency, but they get Drink Like a Demon, which basically lets them drink either a bottle of wine or a tankard of ale as a move action. which is way faster than most people could drink that much alcohol. And for every bottle of wine or tankard of ale that they drink, they are going to take a -2 penalty to intelligence and wisdom, but gain a +2 bonus to either strength or charisma, your choice. And that can be quite nice. And you can consume up to your class level. So at 10th level, you can have 10 drinks that you can hold and gain benefit from. This will last for a number of rounds equal to your Drunken Master level +3. So that's decent. You will sober up relatively quickly. Now, I would recommend, since it does take a move action, to try and get these in before combat. Just try and chug them down as fast as you can before combat starts. You can double move and drink 2 a turn. It's a full action, so that'll save you some time. So improvised weapons is something that they get, which is kind of cool. So they can use literally anything as a weapon. And not only are they proficient with this, a chair or a table or a bottle or whatever random crap they happen to find lying around, they also are going to gain a bonus. Originally, it's, I believe, a D4 extra dice, and it'll count as an unarmed strike, this improvised weapon, plus a D4. So pretty nice. And literally you can use pretty much anything that's not a standard weapon. So really nice. So next up, they also get stagger. Now this is one of the best things that they get. So stagger will let them do a couple of things. One, it will let them make a charge attack at their still standard double move and then a charge attack, but it doesn't have to be in a straight line. In fact, unlike most things that don't require a straight line, this doesn't just say, oh, you can turn once. No, you can do whatever you want. You can make as many turns and as crazy of a path as you feel like, which, considering the speed bonuses for Monk and everything, pretty nice. And you're also able to make a DC 15 tumble at the beginning of the charge to move through people's squares. You also get swaying waist, which will give you a +2 dodge bonus against a single enemy. So kind of the same as dodge, but you can assumedly use it on a different foe. You will get an AC bonus, initially +1, but eventually that goes to a +2. You get improved improvised weapons later, which basically means that special weapons, like if it's a big long weapon like a ladder, you can use that as a reach weapon. If it happens to be like a table, you can use that as a tower shield. If it has like prongs like a chair, you can use that to gain a bonus to disarm. So very interesting. Like you can actually use at a higher level, you can actually use the various attributes of the improvised weapons that you're using to gain benefits. And improvised weapons can actually do all different types of damage type, depending on what makes sense for the weapon. Like if you're bashing somebody with a bottle of beer or with a bottle of ale, that's gonna be probably bludgeoning. Most of them will be bludgeoning, but if you're using something sharp, then it could be slashing or piercing. So anyways, you get greater improvised weapons at 5th level. That just makes it so that that extra damage is no longer a D4, it's now a D8. So you're hitting a little harder with these improvised weapons. Then you will eventually gain the improved feint and the improved grapple feats, which is pretty nice. Then you get something called for medicinal purposes, which lets you use as a standard action. I think it's 3 times a day. You can convert alcohol that you've drank into a healing potion, which will lower your drink count by 1, but will give you the effects of a cure moderate wounds potion. So that's pretty nice. So you get a 2d8 plus 10 health in exchange for one of your drinks, which sobers you up a bit, which would improve your intelligence and wisdom, although lower your strength or charisma, depending on your strength or constitution, depending on what you would up. So not bad. You also get corkscrew rush, which basically lets you on a charge attempt you can basically attempt a free bull rush with a headbutt on that. And so yeah, you do your normal charge, get your normal damage, and then you get a free bull rush with that. That does not provoke attacks of opportunity. Should the bull rush succeed, they then must make a saving throw, a will save, or he's I think stunned for a little while. Whereas whereas if you actually just fail the bull rush, then you actually are prone for a little while. So that's unfortunate. But it is what it is. And being prone isn't the end of the world, especially for someone like a Drunken Master. They also get superior improvised weapons, so eventually they're going to be doing D12s instead of D8s, just added on to the damage for all improvised weapons. And finally, they get Breath of Flame. That lets them for get rid of a drink in order to do 3d12 points of damage. Now that's a cone, a reflex that would allow a reflex save. So not bad. And it's a multi-class note. A monk who goes into this can continue advancing as a monk. So that's kind of cool. Now, let's talk about how good these guys are. So a lot of these features, kind of like these. This would definitely be something for a monk. This doesn't really fit very well at all for any other build other than a monk build. It's very much designed that way. Now, on top of that, there's also the fact that a drunken master, when they drink, they take that penalty to intelligence and wisdom. Now, intelligence isn't a huge deal to them, but it is a bit of a problem. It can make it so that, if that intelligence does hit 0 from other means, then they just stop functioning. And I'm pretty sure that if you take enough penalties to drop your own intelligence to 0, which is pretty easy to do. Like if you're taking 10 drinks, that's a 20 penalty. That's not great. That's pretty severe. So you might not ever be taking that full 10 drinks, unless you're buffing your intelligence and wisdom, which intelligence is not a stat you're normally going to be buffing for a monk. Now, wisdom is one that you would buff. So that's actually going to be a problem, though, because wisdom's kind of a big deal. But there's certainly a fun aspect to playing a Drunken Master, and that extra damage isn't bad, especially at epic level once your monk's damage progression has maxed out. On top of that, there's also sort of an ebb and flow to things. Like you can start the fight heavily intoxicated, and then as the fight goes on, you sober up, either from those drinks starting to wear off after a while, or you burning the drinks off yourself, because you're probably going to just drink like a demon before combat. Hopefully, like you're like, oh yeah, once I go through here, combat will start. Let's chug like a few drinks down real quick, spend a few turns on that, and then combat starts, and like you're hammered, and as the fight goes, you do a few breath weapons, sober up, maybe get rid of that last drink first, to try and make it so that the one that's wearing off, however you want to do it, and then you can drink, maybe you get hurt somewhere along the way, you can heal up. Although that one's only usable 3 times a day. That one's better for out of combat. Just sort of a way to, gain Cure Light Wounds potion. It's a full round action effectively to take a drink and then use it. But at the same time, like out of combat, who cares? And pretty sure a tankard of ale is way cheaper than a potion of Cure Moderate Wounds. So definitely a bit of a money saver. So yeah, that one's not terrible. But yeah, the fact that you're taking wisdom penalties is a big deal. But if you, go in and, just kind of buff your strength a lot, and your strategy is, all right, I'm going to go in, hit real hard at first, and then like sober up throughout the battle, make my strength go down so I'm not hitting as hard. but make my AC and my stunning fists like get better as the fight goes on. Like, that can be a real effective way to do things, to just sober up as the fight goes on. Which it sounds crazy because we're only talking about like a few seconds of combat, but these guys can sober up fast. With their breath weapon, they can sober up real fast. It's not the greatest weapon in the world, but still. But yeah, so that's basically, plus, you know, it wears off after a few rounds, quite a few, but still. You could use this as a dip, you know, just take a few levels, get swagger, and call that good. You know, maybe don't go for the full 10, although the full 10 isn't terrible. It's really up to you, I guess, on what you want to do with this. But it's an alright one. It's certainly fun. That's what I have to say about the Drunken Master. Leave your comments down below. Love hearing from you guys. Maybe give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel for more Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 videos. I do one of these on every class, race, prestige class in the game, as well as a few other D&D 3.5 related stuff and some other stuff for fun. Ring that notification bell so you never miss out on a video. But anyways, as always, I'm Mitch. I'll be seeing you